Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm doing a design team project for Club La La Land Crafts. I'm going to be making two cards using the May 2018 product kit. Now if you missed the unboxing, I'll leave a link in below or at the end of the video for you guys to check out. But this is No Marcy and she is just adorable. I'm going to place her on my acrylic block and we're going to do some stamping. I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock and my Memento ink. I'm just going to ink her up and stamp her. She's a good size image and I love that. I'm going to color her in with my Copic markers. I did leave coloring in for both the cards today, and I also will leave the numbers of the Copics that I used up in the left hand corner for you guys. But while I color her in, I'm going to play a little bit of music and I will catch you back when the music's done. Okay, I just finished coloring her up and I think she looks so fun. I did decide to go in with my RV69 and add some flowers to her dress and one flower to her hat and then to her shoes. I'm just accenting everything with my white gel pen and I think she looks just so sweet. Now I'm going to fussy cut her out. And then I'm just going to add a few more accents with my white gel pen. But there she is. We're going to set her aside and work on our background panel. I'm going to be using some stitched frame dies from Club La La Land Crafts. These create a really pretty background. I'm just going to die cut the largest and also the smallest with white cardstock. I love the stitching line around here. I think it looks so feminine. Okay, now I'm grabbing a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to color in some background with some Distress Oxide inks. This is peeled paint. Now the product kit for May came with a border die. It was a grass and mushroom border die, and I think that's gonna be fun to place on my card. And I wanted to create like a little bit of a heel also, so I'm just shading in this bottom corner, and then I'm going to take some Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink and I'm going to shade in a little area with that as well. Now, one of the dies that came with the product kit for May is a tree stump, and so I'm going to place that on the brown ink. And it did have a little bit of a leaf on there, so I'm kind of overlapping into my green. And then I'm going to take my border die here. It has cute little mushrooms on there. Place that in the bottom. We're going to cut that out as well. And then to create the heel background, I'm going to take a double stitch circle die and I'm going to cut out a half circle. I'm just going to trim out the paper, that way it'll fit through my die cut machine. Okay, now I'm also going to take another piece of white cardstock, and in the dies for May's kit, it came with a little sprig or a twig, and I'm going to cut out 4 twigs. They have little circles on the top that are, I'm calling them flowers because I think they look so fun, but I cut out 4 of those. I'm going to take my peeled paint again and go over my little twigs. Now you can see here that I just left them inside the cardstock when I die cut it out. It just made it easier for me and actually less messy too to color in my leaves. But I just shaded them, and I didn't mind the two-tone look. I wasn't particular on the blending with those. Now I'm going to go in with some candied apple and color in my mushrooms. And when I placed it on the green, it changed the color to like a brick orange almost, and I like the way that turned out. And I'm going to add a little bit more vintage photo to my mushroom stems down the bottom there. Okay, we're just about done. I'm actually going to take my Copic markers and color in my flowers. Now I chose yellows and oranges to color those in. I thought the contrast with the pink dress would be really pretty. I'm going to take a brighter orange and go over it. It was a little bit on the duller side. And the nice thing about leaving them in your cardstock too is you can be messy with your coloring. I'm going to go into the darker brown and add a little bit of detail to my tree stump. There's stitched lines on my tree trunk, and I just went around those. Okay, we're going to punch out our little floral images. And then we're going to get ready to assemble our card. For my card base today, I'm using an A2 size card base. It's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch standard size card base. And then I'm going to take my frame panel here. Now I wanted to create a blue background. So originally I was going to take some broken china, but my go-to for my sky backgrounds lately has been some faded jeans. I really love the hue to this, and I'm just going to very lightly shade in my panel here. It doesn't look like I'm doing much, but when you put it against the white cardstock, it really makes it pop. Here you can see. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of foam tape, place that in the back of my panel, and we're going to lift that up and place that in the center of our card base. Now I'm going to take my tape runner and adhere my grassy border to my heel here. I'm just making sure that I get my mushrooms on my card base. Now I'm going to add foam tape behind this, and then that's going to go right behind my sky background there. I'm going to tuck my little tree stump right behind the mushrooms and trim off the excess. Now I'm going to take my little Marcy and I'm going to pop her up as well. We're going to flip her over, add some foam tape behind her, and place her to the right of my card base. And you can see how large she is, so she's lovely to color in. Okay, now I'm going to take my little flowers and I'm going to actually arrange 3 to the left of Marcy and then 1 to the right, and I'm going around my hillside. So we have a little flowery background there. Now for my sentiment, I chose the Hello sentiment that actually came in the Sweet Nomies stamp set for the May kit. I'm just going to stamp it with VersaFine ink and just use my tape runner and to adhere her to my card base. Now I'm going to take these are actually orange marmalade Nouveau Jewel drops, and I love the effect that this gives. They create little bubbles on my flowers, and when it dries, they dry clear. So I think the outcome is just adorable. I'm just going to go over each one of those flowers. And then I'll take my white gel pen. My mushrooms were kind of drowning right behind my tree stumps, so if I added a little bit of white accent to them and made them pop a little bit more. But there we go. That's my first project using the Club La La Land Crafts May 2018 product kit. So cute. Here's some close-up pictures. And you can see the flowers, the way they bubbled. It was just so fun. Okay, we're going to work on our next project. So, we're going to create a background, and I'm going to use my double stitch square dies. These are also from La La Land Crafts. And I'm going to create a frame. So I'm taking the two largest, placing them inside each other, and then I'm going to die cut those out. I'm going to create two of them. Now I wanted to create a rectangle frame, so this is my way of doing that. And I also cut out 4 more of my little twigs, doing the same exact thing that I had did with my first card. And I'm going to shade them in with, again, more peeled paint. And somehow I got seedless preserves on my blending tool, but I wasn't too concerned about that. I kind of like shading, double shading like that. Okay. Now eventually we're going to color in those flowers again with Copic markers, but we're going to work on our frame. I'm going to take some more of the peeled paint and just lightly go over the inside panel of one of my square frames, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other inside frame, but this time using my faded jeans. That's one thing I like about the double stitching, is you have the stitching on the inside panel and then also on the outside. So I think it just adds a lot of interest to your cards. Okay, now we're going to stamp our sentiment. In a little bit. I think we're going to pop this frame up with some foam tape. I'm just going to go around the entire frame. And as I did that, I thought, well, I need to create a rectangle, so I just cut the bottom portion of my square frame off. I'm going to remove the backing off of my foam tape and then center that on the very top of my card base. Okay, now just using my thumbnail kind of to score where I need to cut, I'm just going to score it, and then I'm going to just trim it off with my scissors. And then this is going to create the bottom portion of my frame. Good way to stretch your dies. I'm going to add some foam tape behind this and place that right below the first frame that we added. Okay, using my tape runner, nope. We're going to add here, we're going to do our sentiment now here. I chose the sentiment, it's so cute. It says, for my best, know me. Know me, yeah. So cute. I'm going to stamp it again with VersaFine ink on the top right corner. And then I'm just going to adhere that on the inside of my frame, just using my tape runner. I'm going to use my paper trimmer to trim down my grassy portion. I could have used my scissors, but I would have definitely got it crooked. I'm going to adhere that on the inside portion of my lower frame. Okay, now we're going to set those aside and we're going to do some coloring. Now this little Nomi I haven't used yet, and so I'm just taking a piece of white cardstock, stamping him. It's the little Nomi that came in the Sweet Nomi stamp set. They actually used three little gnomes like this that came in the second set for the May kit. So cute and adorable. One was holding a flower, the other one had his hand held up high, and this one is holding a lantern, which is just so cute. But again, I'm just going to color in with my Copic markers, coloring his hat and his breeches with some orangey yellows, and then his shirt I wanted to go in with some pinks, just a little bit of different color, and I added a little bit of texture to his shirt by drawing some lines on it. Then I'll just color in his face and his beard with some grays. And then while I had my grays out, I thought I'm going to color in his belt and also the lantern. Okay, he looks so adorable. Now, excuse my phone in the background, I'm sorry. You guys probably noticed I'm using a different mic. Let me know what you think about it. Um, this mic is supposed to drown out my outside noises. Since my kids are out of school, they're going to be home while I work in my craft room, and so they are little loud little boogers. So I wanted to see how this would work. But let me know what you think about the new microphone. Okay, we're going to set my little gnome aside and we're going to color in our little flowers. I'm just using some rich reds, and I did leave the colors on the left hand side for you. Two of them I'm coloring the same, and then the other two I'll color in with different colors. This one I was originally going to go with the lighter red, but I thought that it was too similar in color, so I'm going to go over it with my orange marker here. Alrighty. Next, I'm taking my white gel pen and I'm going to add 3 dots to each one of my little flowers. And you would be amazed just what little dots of white really do. It really just makes them stand out. Okay, we need some grassy borders. So these are the leftover panels that I had used to cut out my frames. I'm going to go over the bottom of them with some more Distress Oxide ink. This is, again, peeled paint. This one I'm kind of going light-handed, and then the second one I'm going to go really dark as I can get it. And then I'm going to take my grass border die here, and I'm going to cut it out, making sure that I get my mushrooms on both sides. Okay, once we have that done, I'm going to shade in my little mushroom tops, just using the ink that I had left over on my little blending tool here. And then I'll add a little bit of vintage photo to my mushroom stems. Now, one of these borders I'm going to use to cover up the seam that I had created. That way nobody could ever tell that I did a chop job on it. I'm just going to trim off the end, kind of measure where I'd like it to go, and then trim off the other end. And then I'll pop up the center of this with some foam tape. That way everything is nice and even. And then I'll use my tape runner on the left and right side and adhere that right over my seam. And I'll do the exact same thing with my second grassy border. And I'm just going to place it right below it. Now when I cut out my little grassy borders, I kind of offset my mushrooms. I didn't want them stacked right on top of each other. So I made sure that they were offset a bit. Now I'm taking some squeezed lemonade, Distress Oxide ink, and creating a little halo that's going to go right behind my little lantern as if it was kind of glowing. And I think that looks great. So I went ahead and popped up my little gnome with some foam tape, and then I added 2 of my flowers to the left of him, and then I'm adding the other 2 down the bottom right corner. Now just to balance off the bottom portion of my frame a little bit better, I'm going to go in with some black and white baker's twine. And I just doubled it up and then tied a bow to the left. And then I'm going to add some white details to my mushrooms, again with my white gel pen. And then that finishes off my second project using the Club La La Land Crafts May 2018 product kit. Now, the kits are wonderful, and the stamp sets are exclusive. You can only purchase them with a subscription. So I encourage you guys to check it out. If you love coloring, you're going to love these kits. Again, links will be below in the description area. But on the 16th, June is the big reveal for the June product kit. I'm so looking forward to sharing that with you guys. It's so fun and so cute. You're going to love it. But these are just the 2 cards I made. If you did get the product kit for May, I hope this gives you some ideas and inspiration on what to do with the kit and how to use it. Some fun ideas. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.